We should definitely, as a society, hold our head in shame at the Horizon IT scandal involving the wrongful prosecution of over 900 sub-postmasters there simply to do service to our country. And today we see the post offices closing en masse. So it's almost impossible to get post office service in any reliable way. And all of this is orchestrated by the last government and the previous government, the Blair government, in the interests of efficiency. What we've seen is inefficiency, but we've also seen political legerdemain, this sleight of hand, this magician's trick, this prestidigitation, this cheap political theatre, not just once, but many times, with the Grenfell Tower, with the Windrush people, this avoidance to cough up when in the wrong. And the Horizon scandal, I think, is one of the most egregious miscarriages of justice in recent British history. So Alan Bates, the former sub-postmaster turned campaigner, has become a focal point of resistance against the dilatory, the tardy tactics employed by the last government and this government and the legal entities in providing redress to the victims. Not just there. I mean, also you can think of the slow. This has almost been completely successful. The suppression of NHS whistleblowers. Do you know of any? I do, but do you? Because that is a story which has gone almost underground because of the success of the political class in squashing it. Sir Alan's recent call for a March 2025 deadline for settling claims underscores a frustration that has been simmering for years. And this frustration is rooted not just in the slow pace of compensation or in the existence of compensation, but in the perception that the government, perhaps deliberately, successive governments, is allowing the process to get bogged down in bureaucracy. And Bates' reference to flimflam artists is a reference to Barnum, reflects a broader suspicion that legal and bureaucratic obstacles are used to exhaust the victims, to push the victims into submission or tragically into their graves. The situation is reminiscent of the kind of political sleight of hand that, as I say, is attributed to historical figures like P.T. Barnum, whose so-called flim-flam was a sophisticated blend of deception and distraction. And in this modern political context, this magic is the ability to create a facade of action and progress while in reality deferring, delaying, and continually subverting justice. The victims who are already elderly and financially devastated, whose lives have been ruined by the arrogance of people like Paula Venables and those who abetted and aided and encouraged them, are faced with an administrative labyrinth that appears designed to benefit legal professionals more than the claimants themselves. And the government's statements about working tirelessly and swiftly, what complete rubbish to resolve the claims, must be viewed with scepticism by many, given the actual progress that has been made. Of the 492 eligible sub-postmasters, only 201 have actually received full compensation, and the process for others remains mired in complexity. What filth! When a Prime Minister is sitting in number 10 who has a background in law. The announcement of the Horizon Convictions Redress Scheme and new appeal processes are positive steps, but they are insufficient in the face of the overwhelming need for immediate and comprehensive redress. And so Alan's demand for a deadline is more than a procedural suggestion. It is a plea for recognition of the human cost behind the legal jargon and the bureaucratic delays by these extraordinarily insignificant individuals who are making a mountain out of a molehill. The sheer scale of injustice, both in the wrongful convictions and the subsequent struggle for compensation, necessitates a political will that transcends the usual platitudes of ministerial responsibility. This is about evil. willful evil to subvert reality, to divert justice from its proper process. In essence, what we witness when we look at this is not a failure of a computer system, but a systemic failure of governance, a systemic failure by the people, by the political elite set up to protect us. They aren't protecting us, they're protecting themselves. This is a self-indulgent, insular, self-turned demonstration of nastiness. And the post office, once a symbol of public trust, has become synonymous with institutional betrayal. And the magic here is a dark one, where the state, instead of being a beacon of justice, is a conjurer of depravity, delay, obfuscation, and despair. If there is any hope for restitution, for resolution, for reparation, it lies in the continued pressure from campaigners like Sir Alan Bates, the scrutiny of the media, and the noise of public opinion, and crucially a political leadership willing to cut through the bureaucratic morass of deceit and deliver the justice that these victims so desperately need and deserve, and that was promised. Because if we can't keep our word, then we have become a useless, lying, deceitful society. I don't want to live in such a society. I want to live in a society where there is a principle that what we say is what we do.